It's a new day and opportunity is in the air. This is Philip with Soul Insights, and you are tuned in to Good Morning Market, where small businesses are empowered to lead their market with the latest in market news, insights, and strategy. Today, we get to learn from Savannah Bananas owner Jesse Cole on how we can stand out in our market to build long-term fans. It was a great interview. I think that we all can learn from Jesse, who is himself a student of innovation and business and just knowing how to do things differently. Don't just stand in the crowd. So a great conversation there. Looking forward to it. In the meantime, let's go ahead and cover the market roundup. So first, the market roundup, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal. Democrats are trying to finalize a social spending deal before President Biden departs for international meetings this week. The package is expected to cost around $1.75 trillion now, with spending on things like Medicare expansion, paid leave, emission reduction tax credits, and universal pre-kindergarten. This spending bill is separate from the proposed infrastructure package for which President Biden is also pushing. From Savannah Morning News, Georgia Ports Director Griff Lynch says the Port of Savannah is not at a standstill amid supply chain crunch. He stated in the past few weeks they've reduced the number of containers sitting for 3 to 4 weeks, reducing that number by 70%. Also, from the U.S. Census Bureau and HUD, they've recently announced their new residential sales statistics for September of 2021. Regarding new home sales of new single-family houses in September 2021 were at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 800,000, according to estimates released jointly today by the Census Bureau and HUD. This is 14% above the revised August rate of 702,000, but is 17.6% below year over year, the September 2020 estimate of 971,000. Also, in terms of what these houses were selling for, the average sales price of homes for September of this year were $451,700. And regarding the sales inventory and the supply of houses in the market, the seasonally adjusted estimate of new houses for sale at the end of September was 379,000. This represents a supply of 5.7 months at the current sales rate. And finally, from Market Roundup, Savannah CEO is the source. The Fannie Mae Economic and Strategic Research Group revised downward its full year 2021 real gross domestic product, GDP, growth projections from 5.4% to below that, 4.9%, due to its more pessimistic view of the speed at which current supply chain disruptions will resolve, as well as its upwardly revised inflation projections and expectation that service-related consumer spending will take longer to return to a more historically normal level. And that's a wrap on the market today. So our guest today is Jesse Cole. Jesse is the owner of the national sensation Savannah Bananas, a collegiate summer league baseball club which has won multiple league championships and is bringing Banana Ball, their new creation, to ballparks across the United States. Jesse is also known for helping businesses stand out via keynote speaking, his book Find Your Yellow Tux, and his podcast Business Done Differently. Jesse, welcome to Good Morning Market.
Excited to be with you, Phil. Fired up, my man.
Absolutely. It's a big deal to be able to get you on the show. You got the yellow tux. You're bringing the heavy hitting today. So looking forward to talking to you and our audience about standing out, which I know is a big catchphrase, but it's not just a catchphrase for you. It's about everything about the way y'all do business, standing out in your market. And so looking forward to learning from you on how we can do that. I did want to do a warm up here, and I couldn't help but ask you this because you're a baseball guy, played baseball, you run a baseball organization, and at the time of this recording, tonight we're going to watch the first game of the World Series. So we got the Houston Astros facing off against the Atlanta Braves. I would be remiss, Jesse, if I didn't ask you for some kind of scouting report or prediction on how this series plays out.
I'm probably not liked by the baseball market when I say I've watched very little baseball over the last few years. So I will say whoever wins usually has more to prove, has as a story that they're trying to live up to. So, for instance, you got the Astros, which they only won when they cheated. Well, can they win without cheating? So they got something to prove. And the Braves, from their struggle and what they're going, and no one believed they could make it. Can they now beat them? And everyone, the whole world's pushing for the Braves to now beat the Astros. So it'll be interesting. I will say it will not be a 4 or 5 game series. I would see this going 6 or 7. So it will be close. And it'll be fun. It's good for baseball that there is interest right now.
Right.
Obviously, in September, there were very few fans going to games. And now that there is interest, that's good to see.
So just the final kind of tying the bow on that is, last year, I think almost all the games in the playoffs were at neutral sites. And so now we've got the home field advantage for the Astros, for example. So they're going to host the first 2. And if it goes to 6 or 7, they'll have the last 2. With the Savannah Bananas or any kind of baseball organization, is home field advantage as big a deal as some might think in baseball?
Yes. For the Bananas, 10 times so. I mean, because of the breakdancing base coaches, the Banana Nanas, the Banana Pep Band, the nonstop music, the entertainment, most teams have no idea how to deal with that environment. It's definitely an advantage. But really, it comes down to a lot of times who's pitching. If you have a guy that's ice on the mound, Max Scherzer, I know he didn't make it to the World Series. He can care less where he's pitching. So it really depends. But this is the most baseball I've talked in a long time, Philip. I'm really thrown off right now, but I'm ready to rock.
I know. So we covered the sports part, we got that covered. And so now we'll go into the business. So, many of the people who are listening to this are going to know the Savannah Bananas. They know the gist of the story, but I don't want to take that for granted. Could you give us a sky level view of how you came from a similar organization in the CPL, the Coastal Plains League, a similar type of organization? I watched an ESPN special on y'all that, you came down to Savannah. You're like, hey, this is a great market. If something ever opens up, we want to know. You then come and replace a minor league baseball team and you start up the Savannah Bananas. What was the sky level journey of how y'all sought to stand out and do something special here in Savannah?
Yeah, long story short, I spent 10 years with a small team in Gastonia learning. As a 23-year-old, I became the GM of a team. And the only way that happens is if it's the worst team in the country. So I took over that team and they were struggling, and $268 in the bank account. And I was so fortunate to have an owner that let me experiment. And I realized that we weren't in the baseball business, we were in the entertainment business. We could never be the best at it. And if you want to stand out, it's not necessarily trying to see how do you become the best, how do you become the only? And so what I realized is that we could become the only team that had dancing players, the only team with grandma beauty pageants, the only team serving, we came up with donut burgers, donut dogs, garbage can nachos, so many different food items we've never served before. And that's how we started to stand out. So I experimented there. And then when I saw the opportunity in Savannah and came down and saw that minor league baseball was failing and they were about to leave, we saw this great opportunity. But the biggest challenge that happened for us, Philip, when we came into Savannah, I was afraid. I came in and we did it for 10 years, but we came into this big market and everyone's doubting us. And we tried to fit in. I wasn't wearing the yellow tuxedo. We were just trying to fit in. We were marketing like everyone else, selling like everyone else. And we were getting results like everyone else. In fact, much worse. It wasn't until we had the courage to name the team after a fruit. And we knew that fans would hate it at first, but we saw a longer vision that was the starting point to, wow, maybe this team is a little different. Maybe they aren't like the former teams. And so, after, we only sold 2 tickets our first 3 months. By January of 2016, we overdrafted our account. We were out of money. My wife and I had to sell our house, sleep on an airbed. We were struggling. We named the team the Bananas, went all in, created an all-you-can-eat experience, the pep band, the breakdancing coaches, the dancing players, you name it, we tried it. And now, yes, fortunately, every single game is sold out. The wait list just hit 12,000 for tickets, and now we're taking the show all over the world. So we're very, very fortunate.
So I got to follow up on that, and it's something that I want to learn from you, and I think that we all need to learn this lesson is the role of fear, because it's easy now in hindsight to say, yeah, be the only one. Well, what's scary about being the only one is most of us are looking to conform or go with a known playbook. We're looking to go with the safe bet. Can you just help us appreciate what were some of the fears or the feelings that you had when y'all decided, we're going to be the only one. We're not going to be a baseball club that tries to entertain a little. We're going to be an entertainment business, and we're going to do it a completely different way.
I think it comes down to regret. I mean, Jeff Bezos says it, and regret minimization. You want to look at 80 years old. Would you regret doing some of the things? And I think, we'll regret often, we won't regret the things we do. We regret the things we won't do. That's generally what it is. And so we just took this mindset to say, let's try, let's experiment, let's do things. But more than anything, Phil, I was just trying to create something I wanted for myself.
Mhm.
Walt Disney is one of my biggest mentors. He sat at Griffin Park with his daughter Diane, going on a merry-go-round, and he sat there and he goes, "Man, I wish there was something that would be fun for kids and adults."
Mhm.
And he acted on it. And when I sat in that dugout when I was 22 years old, I was coaching the Cape Cod League, and I realized that I was bored out of my mind. I wish I could create something that would be fun for people that didn't like baseball at a
Right.
baseball game.
Yeah.
And so it didn't really become a fear issue. It said, let's keep creating things that I want. When you create things that you want, you will scream it on top of the mountaintops, and you're not afraid to try it.
Mhm.
I realized that most baseball games for most people were too long, too slow, too boring. So to
Yeah.
be the only to create all these different things, I was just trying to create something I wanted. It's like,
Mhm.
going to a buffet and getting what you want.
Mhm.
That's what I was trying to do. So it was never a fear issue. The fear is that it fails, but no one remembers the failures. No one remembers that our first shipment of t-shirts, there were too many N's in bananas. We misspelled the word bananas. No, no one remembers our first night where we served all you can eat for 4,000 fans, and it took 2 hours to get food, and it was a miserable experience.
Hmm.
No one remembers that. No one remembers the first time we did banana ball and it was a disaster. The first time we mic'd up players and all you could hear is, or the first time we had a
Right.
drone during a game and it flew into the net and flew into the trees. No one remembers that. It's always messy in the beginning. So I think that's kind of the mindset, is just get to that next at bat and keep trying to create something you want, and you won't be afraid of it.
Right. And actually, I guess what you mentioned Walt Disney, so I'll go ahead and ask you about this. Is for anybody who follows Jesse on the Business Done Differently podcast, if you follow him on LinkedIn, I like to watch your 1 minute boost. There's a couple names that will come up quite frequently, and it's already done so, is Walt Disney and P.T. Barnum are two of the names that I noticed that you name drop a lot. And I actually, in listening to one of your recent, I think it's season 4 episodes, I actually went and watched the Disney Imagineering documentary on Disney Plus.
What'd you think?
I thought it was amazing, especially the first episodes where it talked about Walt Disney and just what he was up against in creating Disneyland. I think it's so easy to take it for granted, and he actually had to cash out a life insurance policy to get the funds. And his own brother, who was his business partner, his wife, everybody was basically saying, "You're crazy. You shouldn't do this." And I guess it can't be understated how much of a paradigm shifter in the entertainment business, and how he left, all of this established success where he could have rested on his laurels with making animated pictures or even doing the real life pictures. And then he goes this completely different direction. It sounds like that was kind of the model you were following, and plussing is something you talk about with Walt Disney and the way he and P.T. Barnum inspire what y'all do.
Oh, 100%. And if you think about Walt Disney, for instance, obviously, we know Mickey Mouse, we know Minnie Mouse, we know Snow White, what it did. We know Fantasia. We have an idea of some of his biggest movies. He did 15 years of movies that no one really knows the names. Like, you have to go back, like during the war and other ones, he was doing propaganda stuff. No one remembers it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we think about Disney, we think of the amazing things that he's done. No one remembers the Amazon Fire phone. It was a $200 million failure by Amazon.
Oh, yeah. I do actually.
What's that?
I do remember. I was in the tech world though, but yeah, that was that went very quickly.
It was gone, but the technology they learned from that, they used to build Alexa and the Echo.
Yeah.
So my point is, it's like we focus so much on the failures, what will happen. The key is, how do you keep coming to bat? So Walt Disney was Disneyland, when it opened, they called it Black Sunday. It was a disaster. There was, literally, the cement wasn't, done yet. So people's shoes were getting stuck. There was complete overcrowding. The bathrooms were overflooding. Mark Twain, the boat, literally started sinking while people in it. It was a disaster.
Yep. Yeah.
But then it got better. So yeah, Walt's obviously, he has a vision of so far ahead of his time. He said it's kind of fun to do the impossible. He always had this vision of what it could be. And P.T. Barnum was always obsessed with promoting. So, the opportunity of promoting, creating attention, and a vision, if you put those two together, you can create something pretty special. And I think I've been trying to emulate the lessons from them every day.
Okay. So, I mean, like what I take away from that and seeing y'all emulate it is you have to be willing to take risks. It's like the old Wayne Gretzky quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you're not willing to pursue your dreams, trust yourself, have that conviction to go out there and to test something and know that you will fail sometimes. You'll never be able to, accomplish your dreams. And then you're sitting there at 80 with all the regret.
Be obsessed. The thing that we missed in the whole, conversations of Walt and P.T. Barnum, and especially P.T. Barnum, because he never said there's a sucker born every minute. He never said that. Actually, it was his rival that came up with that and credited to him. But anyways, yes, it was very smart marketing on his rival. But anyways, they were obsessed with their customers. I mean, obsessed. They were obsessed on everything they could do to make the experience better for them. If there's one lesson from them, it's how do you obsess so much over their customers? Walt Disney used to go, he had a place, he had an apartment on Main Street, and he would go undercover and he would go in line with his guests. And he said, whenever I go on a ride, I'm always asking what's wrong with this thing and how can it be improved? He was obsessed with creating a better experience. Same thing with P.T. Barnum. What would get people so excited? So I think that's the driver. What led Walt with his vision, what led P.T. Barnum to promote like any other, was this obsession with the customer experience. They were the best there was at it. And that's where we developed our whole mindset of fans first. Our name of our company is Fans First Entertainment. So I think don't obsess over how do you make more revenue? How do you grow your business? How do you drive sales? Obsess over your customers and create fans. That's the game-changing thing that they do. That's the root of everything that they did.
So that takes me to something that anybody who understands the business side of Savannah Bananas and what you are about is y'all have a very different playbook for how you in effect grow the business. And you mentioned one thing was fans first. Another thing I noticed you mentioning as y'all are promoting Banana Ball and y'all are doing a world tour that's coming up is, y'all are not too big on advertising. Y'all don't really follow that traditional playbook. Okay, you need to put out some digital ads here and do that, put on some radio ads. It seems like y'all really focus on generating buzz and publicity, and then once you can get them in, you want to deliver such an amazing fans first experience that then you get that coveted word of mouth going out everywhere. Is that accurate? And how has it worked so well for y'all?
Yeah, you're spot on. Well, again, it's all by testing. When we did regular marketing, it didn't work. And you put yourself in your customer's shoes. If you're obsessed, if you're fanatic about fans, you tell me this, Philip. Do you get up in the morning and say, man, can't wait to be advertised to today. I hope someone markets to me. I want to get as much promotions in my face today as possible.
Right.
It is the noisiest it's ever been in history.
Yes.
And it's getting noisier every single day with more ads. When my 3-year-old is watching Lion Guard on YouTube and he goes, Daddy, I don't like ads. And he's, Dad, skip this ad. My 3-year-old hates ads. No one likes ads. Why do businesses say, well, we got to do more ads? No. Outthink, don't outspend. Creatively think on what you can do to create excitement. So for instance, we don't do typical ads. When we announced our world tour, we brought in a yellow helicopter. We had literally a yellow carpet come down. Me and the players came out. We had cryogenics. We did a live event. It was ridiculous. It cost us nothing. We had a relationship. We called the people that spray the mosquitoes. They ride yellow. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we'll swing it by. Perfect. And so you just got to outthink, not outspend. And I think it's hard to do. But if you were trying to put yourself in your customer's shoes, everybody in the world right now, we might not want to be advertised to, we might not want to be marketed to, but we want to be entertained.
Yeah.
Right. We all want to be entertained. So say, what can I create that would be entertaining? What video could I create? What podcast could I create? And think about entertaining, not about driving revenue and sales. And if you're constantly entertaining, your customers will find ways to buy from you and tell other people. And that's whatever business. And that's what we've learned. So it's just, when we're announcing our world tour, everything we think of how are we making this announcement in a fun way and entertaining, and how are we entertaining the whole process to get people to understand what we're about. And I talk to every media person there is, but they want to talk to me, fortunately, because it's not about me selling. It's about, wait, you guys are playing what? What's banana ball? If fans catch a foul ball, it's an out? Wait, you have guys on stilts? Wait, what are the players doing? It's thinking like a reporter. It's news.
Right. That's a story. That's a story. You're telling them about a story that they can tell.
There you go. It's adding value to them as opposed to adding value to me. Oh, I'm an HVAC. I've got this special on AC units right now. Like there's no story there.
Right.
Unless
No,
you literally had, this HVAC, they're giving massages. They're bringing out a whole massage troupe to every house, and they're doing like free massages and doing like, how do you make it more? They're bringing out an igloo during the summer, and you can hang out an igloo and have free drinks and free, like, then it becomes more newsworthy. You just got to think like that.
No, you bring up a great point about the advertising paradigm is we are so oversaturated. And I think that consumers are kind of growing weary of, advertising everywhere. And you even see some of the tech companies responding with, how they're changing some of the privacy settings, but also the people are smarter about advertising. You really can't outsmart them, and you really can't sell them with this kind of model. So why try to fight a losing game when you could build genuine relationships by educating or entertaining, or both, people telling good stories and kind of that pay it forward model? And then people are like, wow, that's something I would genuinely like to look into, because once again, you're not pitching them.
Well, I mean, I think the reality is advertising works to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Advertising will get customers, but
Mm-hmm.
entertaining creates fans. It's a different conversation. So if you advertise, you may get customers in the door, but are you going to entertain them? Are you going to take care of them? That's how they become fans. Advertising is a transactional experience.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
Entertaining is building a brand, building a following. And it's constantly think about when on TikTok, everyone's on TikTok, they have people they follow because they're entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they just happen to say, hey, I'm wearing this shirt, they've already built the brand and built the trust. It's a different conversation.
Right.
So if we ever share that, hey, we have a new 24-hour shirt that's coming out for the next 24 hours, no one sees it as advertising.
Right.
Because we're just announcing it's something that people are like, oh, cool, I want to wear that. And they're seeing it as a different level, not like, hey, advertising is when you put discounts and sales. We have no discounts, no sales. That's buy this right now. Like, This is it. Like, oh, hey, we're here for you.
No, I actually listen to, and I advise everybody, check out the Business Done Differently podcast. Jesse Cole really brings on some great minds on there, and he's also to share his successes and failures. And you brought on a guy from Chick-fil-A.
Robinson.
Yes, and y'all talked about Chick-fil-A's pricing strategy, because a lot of what we see in fast food is this is on special sale right now, or discounted price, or the dollar menu. The people are so used to that. And you talked about both of y'all's experiences, both Bananas and then Chick-fil-A, of if you really know what you're about and you're really having a fans first mentality, you don't need to not trick them, but you don't need to kind of chase after them with the discount to get that transaction kind of thing.
Entice them with the price. No, you entice them with your brand, with the value, with what they're a part of. When you go to Chick-fil-A, I very few people I think look at the prices at Chick-fil-A. But if you go to Taco Bell and you go to Wendy's, what's on the dollar menu? What's the value menu? You immediately start thinking about dollars, which is bringing you down. Chick-fil-A could increase 30 cents every month, every 3 months now, to an extent, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm good. I like this brand. I'm good.
So in terms of like the not thinking of the sales promos and the advertising the way most people are going, once again, standing out and doing something that no one else is doing, thinking of building fans. Why do you think most businesses don't do that right now? What do you think, if you're trying to think for them, why do you think most of them aren't doing that thing?
Because there's no immediate ROI. There's zero ROI immediately. It is unbelievable long game that we're in a world built on increasing your revenues per quarter, not per quarter century. It's a different game. So for instance, when we eliminated all of our advertising from our stadium on February 25th, 2020, which was one of the worst business decisions you could do 2 weeks before a pandemic, and threw away hundreds of thousands of dollars. That doesn't make any sense for any finance director in the world. None. But when you peel the onion, you keep going further back, you peel each layer off, and you're like, wait, they have a fan wall, so they're giving up all their ads and they're letting their fans sign the wall and be a part of it. They're celebrating the history of the 1926 ballpark. Wait, the name of their company is Fans First. Oh, they don't believe in advertising. They want to create a better experience for you. Wait, every ticket is all inclusive. They have no ticket fees, no convenient fees, no shipping fees. Whenever they buy merchandise, you get a custom yellow box, koozie, decal, and everything at a price that's good. And you start putting on a layer like, wow, I like this brand. I want to be a part of this. I'm in this. And in the long game, it works. And if you look at the numbers very clearly, our merchandise and our sponsorship was pretty close to the same revenue.
Okay.
Pretty close. Our merchandise has now quadrupled from that point in 2 years. It's a multi-million-dollar business.
4X?
4X.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm not saying there's a direct correlation. Obviously, we've been fortunate, ESPN and Wall Street Journal, USA, and all the national media. But it's building a brand. So in the long game, would I rather have people paying us to wear our brand proudly, or getting corporate sponsors all around a ballpark that says orthodontics, real estate, car dealership, et cetera, that actually does not build a brand?
Right.
Well, short term, a lot more money in sponsorship. You get a $50,000 check, a $25,000 check. We're getting $24 orders, $30 orders. It takes a long time to get up to that.
Oh, yeah.
So people don't have that conversation because on paper, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
But in the long run, I think if you focus on creating long-term fans over short-term profits, the profits will take care of themselves.
Right. And like you said, people believe your brand because everybody can say, right now, everybody listening could say, oh, we're a fans first business. Well, we're customers first. We're customer centered. Everybody will say that. But if you're not walking the walk, or if a significant part of your business is inconsistent or at odds with what you say you're about, people aren't gonna believe it. And so that was the tough decision, and it did result in an upfront loss. But in the long run, people are like, you know what, these guys truly are fans first, and they appreciate that.
Yeah, and it gives us permission to make mistakes. You know, when United Airlines makes a mistake and pulls someone out of a plane, all right, and it goes viral, and everyone just rips United away, it's because they hadn't built the brand. They hadn't created fans that people would back them up. Oh, it was just, it was a one person. It was a mistake. This isn't who they were. They didn't have people backing them up. We're going to make mistakes every single game, every single night. Things go wrong. But what happens, we have people backing us up because we've built the trust in the brand. Now, again, it's all part of the learning experience, but I'd rather look back at 10, 15, 20 years and say we made decisions for fans and not made decisions for our bottom line.
That's beautiful. So this is the last question I'll ask you in closing, is because I know you're a business speaker. You put this message out there and you honestly believe it. And I actually saw Jared, the president, deliver a similar presentation. He was talking about some of y'all's philosophies to a group of small businesses. And you even addressed this on your podcast, is that, you're an entertainment business. So some people will say, that's cool for guys like Walt Disney, who does theme parks, and P.T. Barnum, who runs a circus, or Jesse Cole, who runs, an entertainment business, baseball. But how does Joe the plumber or someone who runs their real estate firm, how does a non-entertainment business have this fans first, stand out, be the only one strategy, and how can it work for them? That's what some of these skeptics will be thinking. So what has been your responses when you get that question?
I had to look up the definition of entertain. And the definition of entertain is to provide enjoyment and provide amusement. Aren't we all in the entertainment business? I don't care if you're retail, you're a realtor, you name it, manufacturing, provide enjoyment. So, you can look at the yellow tux and look at the fact that we have pep bands and plain kilts and all the circus. How do you provide enjoyment every step of the process? When people buy from you, what happens? Is it a regular payment confirmation, or is it something that provides more enjoyment? When you finish that process and you give an invoice or you pay, is it over, or do you do something else to provide extra enjoyment the next step of the way? That is the process of entertaining. What is your script for when you work with a company, or when you work with a customer, or when you're B2B, B2C? What's your script? Is it, this is the way it's always been done? You buy, I do the process, and it's over. Or can I throw in nice touches, human touches, things that make people feel good, smile, laugh, bring that enjoyment? And so we map everything. And when things go wrong, that's our best opportunity to be an entertainment business. And when things go wrong at our ballpark, it's called rain. When we get rain outdoors, but we have a rain delay script of 3 hours of different entertainment that we only do when it's raining. And we have it set for our entire ballpark.
Brilliant.
What's your rain delay script? When something goes wrong with a customer, if you're a plumber and something goes wrong, you didn't fix it, and they're upset, they're calling upset. What's that extra script, or that extra bonus, that one more thing you will do bonus for them? And that's how you provide a bigger fan, because you went the extra mile to entertain them, because you cared about their enjoyment and their happiness.
No, that's beautiful. I recently read a famous quote. I think it was Einstein who says that if you want to change things, you have to think at a different level to get the solution from the way you thought when you created the problem. So this is, I think, what Jesse's presenting before us is a paradigm shift. Is it about transactions, or is it about relationships? Is it about getting that next dollar in the short term, or is it about building a fans first mentality in the long term? So I appreciate everything you've shared with us. It's something that I'm actively looking to employ in my own business. I think that it's something we can all take to heart if we want to build these fans first relationships. So in closing, Jesse, I talked about the podcast, but for people who want to keep in touch with Jesse Cole, who want to follow what you do or want to learn more about how your approach can help their business, how can they connect with you?
It's almost like a salesy question. Like that's I always start out like, all right, you go to this link, you get this, you get this, you get
right,
this.
Right.
I'm easy to find.
Buy now.
Buy now. If you get this right now in the next 24 hours, you got this. I'm easy to find. Savannah Bananas, we share everything. LinkedIn, I spend a lot of time on. But yeah, if you search Yellow Tux, you'll find me. And as I learned from when I was 25 years old, I read Mark Cuban's book. I was blown away. I emailed him that night, and within 2 hours, he emailed me back. I learned from that. I go, if Mark Cuban can email me back, I can be available for people that have questions. So, I literally give away my cell phone at the ballpark every night in front of over 100,000 fans. So my cell phone's out, my email's out. I'm very easy to find. My staff knows to give my cell phone. I just think that's I wish I had that when I was younger. And, the opportunity, I think you learn more by giving and sharing. And so I enjoy that process. So I'm available. Find me. I can help in any way.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Jesse. You can find his book, Find Your Yellow Tux. You can follow him on the podcast, Business Done Differently. You can connect with him pretty much anywhere and everywhere. Go to one of the games and you can get his cell phone. But that is Jesse Cole with Savannah Bananas. Thank you so much for your time. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate you, man.
So that concludes our episode for today. Really enjoyed getting to learn from Jesse, and I hope that y'all go give him a follow. In the meantime, if you enjoyed today's episode, if you enjoyed what you've heard and seen from Good Morning Market, please leave a review. I read every single review. Would love to know what you think about the program. Please share with your colleagues and people you think would also value this program. If you'd like to reach me directly, be it for feedback or any questions, or perhaps to suggest someone you think would be a good fit for an interview on the program, you can email me at info@soulinsights.com. That's info@soulinsights.com. You can also reach me on LinkedIn. I would love to connect and grow the network. You can reach out to the Soul Insights company LinkedIn page. You can reach me, Philip Scroggin, on LinkedIn. If you'd like to get additional insights that we don't cover in the podcast and the YouTube show, you can subscribe at soulinsights.com to the Good Morning Market newsletter. And I guess that's it for now. Y'all have a great day, great week, and remember that in order to lead your market, you must first hear and know your market.